Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Birthright as we continue working our way through the remaining section for the Canasi realms, with this being the island states. So far we've covered 2 of the Anshe realms. Now we're finally onto a playable realm, so PC realm, and that is Suiriene. It's chaotic good and recommended, decently sized as well. By and large sparsely populated, although you do have a level 5 province, but on the other hand you also have a level 0 province. So we're averaging out to about, a typical 3 for the provinces here. So, that being said, the law, as you can see, is divided, as are the temples and guilds, although these sources are all under one control there. So let's take a look and see what Suiriene offers you as a player. But actually, before we do that, if you guys want to see videos like Birthright and other D&D content, and even some of the other games that we cover early, including some exclusives, head over to our Patreon. We've got multiple different support tiers, even a free level for our hobby blog and some other things coming down the pipeline. All the support really does mean a lot, guys. That helps us track down all these old modules and continue to bring you guys content here. So we got so much more planned, so much more still to come for Birthright. And then, that's with or separate actually from a lot of other content that we have planned for diving into Ravenloft and some of the other older settings. So much still to come, but again, all the support keeps us motivated and helps us also track, again, these modules down, guys. All goes right back into the channel. So check out that. We have that in our links. And then let's jump into Suiriene here. So, a former colony, it's enjoyed independence for more than 4 centuries, but still retains many Anuiran laws and customs. Descendants of both Basarji and Anuirans live here, relying on the sea for trade and communication, so another interesting cultural mix. The Lord Governor's police have a firm grasp on the law holdings of Suiriene. However, agents of the Society of the Serpent have infiltrated several provinces, especially the poorer neighborhoods of the city of Messetiel. The Serpent here does play a role, for sure. And probably more subtly in other realms as well. Of course, we've seen a little bit of that on different levels. So, Agents of the Serpent, really, you could play that up as the sort of the boogeyman and the bad guy, overtly and even more covertly, however you want, in pretty much a lot of the Canasi areas. Now, the people have always called on whichever god they thought would hear them, so the island houses a variety of temples. You have the Dragon Sea Temple of Halen, which is interesting to see Halen this far out, right, in that form, led by Ania Kafalier, level 1 priestess, but pretty solid bloodline at 29. And the Church of the Eternal Seas, governed by Cedrian Al-Ghazni, level 4 priest, and small bloodline and true neutral. So they make their headquarters there. So again, you got that divided there. There's a little bit of other stuff going on that we can see too, just because there's, let's see, we got DTH, GTA, ETS, and WSK. So we can get into them all here, right? But there's a lot going on the religious side. But at least no conflict there. The guilds, the Merchant Consortium of Suiriene under Sarand Fasir, level 5-3, true neutral, dominates trade in the area of the islands, but Mindusai's Dragon Sea Coster wants to expand its foothold. Again, here, agents of the Society of the Serpent also work towards gaining control of the trade, so they're really the major threat. Now, the sources following the Anuiran custom, the Lord Governor received no schooling in magic. Instead, he relies on his court wizards to watch over magical events in and around the nation. The loyal Wind Mage does his job well and spends quite a bit of time at court, so another cool sort of title there. Now, you're starting off with a decent amount of regency, so 27 and 40 generated and accumulated. The treasury, though, is pretty paltry. 8 gold bars is not going to be a lot to work with, especially when there is going to be a lot of work that needs to be done. Typically, the tax collectors bring in about 12 gold bars per turn. Royal Sea trade routes from Messetiel to Adara and Mindusai and to Bear Falaya in Kurain generate an additional 11 per turn. So you at least have some coming in, although you got a fair bit of expenses too. So we got to find a way to really either lower some expenses that are unneeded or get some more taxes out there without upsetting people, or just start generating more income. So there's more work that needs to be done because here's going to be a lot of your expense. So, and again, even though it's an average size realm, you're spending a lot here for the armed forces. The army part is pretty minimal, right? You got 4 units of spearmen and 2 of light cavalry. So, a decent little mix, but not a major army by any stretch of the imagination. Where a lot of this money is going, though, is the Navy, and it's pretty damn sizable, right? You got 22 ships, 12 Duras, 7 Zebeks, and 3 Dows. Again, a lot of that's also facilitating the trade, so that's important, but we need to maybe have like yet another sea trade route or something. We got to have more income coming in. Now, the regent, if you want to run the exact regent here, is Mieles Buired. It's a level 2 fighter, 27 bloodline, lawful neutral. Rules as Lord Governor, and nobles here still use the old Annuarian titles. So this cold, calculating man of about 30 stands a little over 5 feet in height and seems to have little to no sense of humor. He inherited that of the Isle, the current lordship, about 6 years ago when his father was murdered by the agents of the Serpent. So you have a very real antagonist right there. The previous governor's extreme popularity appears to be more than Buired can match. The people feel dissatisfied with his rule, despite his reputation for competence and fairness. But yeah, well, he's also just a level 2, so he hasn't, really gained all that much experience across the board. But yeah, as you can see, so we got the serpent, I shouldn't say worming his way, snaking his way, call it that, into so many levels of the nation here. And well, apparently outright murdering your father. So that's some good motivation to deal with the problem there, should you take on that character. Chief Lieutenant and most valuable advisor is the Wind Mage. Again, cool as hell title. Nashal Ibn Ramil, level 9 wizard, so that's pretty potent to have on your side, and he's lawful good, so that helps too. So not someone that you have to worry about being duplicitous. Skilled wizard who served his father for many years. He is the principal weapon in the Lord Governor's campaign against the Serpent's influence. So yeah, want to keep that relationship going. And maybe cultivate some other wizards to also help out. Other important NPCs, a fierce Voss pirate named Ilya Zerenik, level 7 fighter, so that's pretty high. Minimal bloodline, but chaotic evil, that's a problem. Right, wants to muster a new crew by recruiting in the lowly neighborhoods of Massatiel. She lost her ship 2 months ago to a Mayridden coaster and drifted with the wreckage until she washed up on the shores. Her ongoing campaign of robbery and murder, though, has partially restored her finances, but also has brought her to the attention of the Society of the Serpent. Yeah, man, easy ground there for getting a new recruit. So they've offered to bankroll her return to the high seas with a few conditions, of course. Nothing comes for free, and she's gladly accepted, right? So she's hoping to steal one of your warships. In the tangled forest of North Cape Province, a powerful druid called El Badain, the nameless one, keeps a shrine dedicated to the god Eric. While the Kinasi don't generally venerate the Forest Lord by any name, Annuarians brought his worship to the lands hundreds of years ago. Now, he's a pretty potent priest, although interesting that he's not a druid, but again, tainted bloodline, neutral good, though. Now seeks acolytes to carry his god's message to the shores of the Docandra and halt the logging of that mighty forest. The lone druid's influence has not yet proven strong for even a 0 holding. So a little typo there. So I would, considering they're calling him a druid here, up to the player, of course, in the DM, but maybe just actually making him a druid versus a priest, but up to the players, or maybe multi-class, who knows, whatever. You got choices, but really cool stuff there. But another ally that you could potentially cultivate as well, and maybe, hey, we'll help you with your goals, you help us deal with the agents of the Serpent if possible. Like the other realms of the Ajari Deeps, it remains first and foremost a sea power. In fact, more than half of them all make their living from the sea, the citizens, that is, either sailors, merchants, or fishermen. Locals number among the most advanced seafarers in all of Suiriene, and their ship designs include the best features of both Kinasi and Annuarian vessels. Shipbuilding, and that could be maybe a very pricey export there. Like, hey, we'll let you commission our ships and build from our designs, maybe keeping it like a sort of bargaining chip with other nations, but charge a hefty fee for access to these ships. Or just to be able to allow others to ship on your ship goods and stuff on your ships, right? Kind of keep it like a state secret, maybe, and then charge a surcharge for fast transport and stuff like that, or even just passengers in general. So it does seem like a stable realm, but the people have a strong streak of independence, and they don't always agree with the Lord Governor's edicts. Worse yet, the island holds great interest for the Serpent, unfortunately, yeah. So the Anshe pours resources into infiltrating and corrupting the realm, as we've seen. Now, the capital is pretty cool. Strong towers and a powerful navy guard the greatest port and capital, which is a city-state unto itself, again, Massatiel. The Lord Governor's Palace, which is a small walled compound, overlooks the sea from a cliff top. It has no landward defenses, though, but regents have always protected it heavily with fortifications and various war machines. Now, the trade goods, as we could imagine, take orders from all over Suiriene, the shipyards. That is, much of it has been deforested by the shipwright's demands for timber, and only the Lord Governor's personal protection has kept North Cape from the same fate. So, yeah, that's a resource that we don't want to lose out on, right? So, we've got to find a way to make that work for everybody. Allies, it's officially a neutral realm, but it has always been on particularly good terms with Myrata, Kuran, and Marisaf, so something to keep in mind. Now, enemies, the priest lords of Gamura, harbor an intense dislike of Suiriene's open attitudes towards religion, and relations between the two island states are currently very cool. But surprisingly here, of course, the serpent is going to be an enemy as well, so kind of a omission from them there. So another really interesting realm, especially the first one that we can play in this area. It is an island nation, which we really haven't had much of before, if any. We have some good things going for us. We have some other problems, though. The main one being, again, the serpent really and his agents working their way into the kingdom and trying to disrupt and corrupt things there. But we do have some potent allies as well. It probably would be something where the PC, if you're again running this character, Miles Buirid, just as a lowly level 2, you probably, if there's time, want to undertake some actual quests or something to gain some levels there too, just for personal protection as well, because again, you've got some other powerful enemies about. The main thing is really just we don't have to worry about religious conflict, although there are some that would probably want to cultivate that, but we need to find a way to maybe make a little bit of money off the churches, but then also just increase our economy a little bit more, because again, our navy is taking up a lot of the actual income, it would seem, and then just working from there. But there's a lot of neat potential here. So let us know in the comments, guys, if you've run Suiriene or just adventuring around there. There's plenty of potential in all respects, as usual. Hit us up in the comments, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.